Hello again and welcome to build update number 5. Okay, this is the final build update of the series. Over the last couple of builds updates we did the unboxing, we got the vehicle made, we got it painted, the last one then we got the figures done for it. So what's left? Just to be weathered a bit. So this is the combination of everything, putting it all together, making it all work, making it look right. So I'm after giving it a black wash. Okay, just a plain ordinary black wash. Alright, what that is doing after highlighting some of the bits there, as you can see. Okay, it's just after highlighting some of them, making them look stand out. Now I could just dull coat that and leave it as it is. Out of focus. But I'm not going to. No. If you remember some of my earlier videos, I used to use a thing called a sludge wash. And a sludge wash basically, it's an aircraft modelling technique where you make down a sludgy paste with some water mixed with a few pastels or pigments, whatever you want to use. I used to use the chalk pastels, but I thought for some reason I cannot seem to locate them. But I do have some pigments. I have some nice muddy coloured pigments. Okay, so I'll show you now how I make down the sludge for the sludge wash. So let's go down to the bench. I'll make down the sludgy goo and then we'll apply it to the vehicle. Then you leave that dry basically overnight. Yeah, you leave it dry in overnight, and I'll explain as I go along what you do to it. So down to the bench, we'll make up the sludge wash. Okay, so here I am ready to make down the sludge wash. What you need is one, you need a little container. I find these absolutely fabulous. I buy them in a pound shop, right, or Euro store or dollar store. You know the thing, you know what I'm talking about, the cheap shop, right? And they're just plastic party shot glasses, right? They're literally one use, chuck them away. Spend another dollar or pound or €1.50 and you'll get yourself another dozen of them. So they're the cheapest chips and they're absolutely brilliant. They really are. Okay, so you need one of them. You need a thickish, not a new one, a thickish old paintbrush. You need some water, and you need some, be it either pigments or some chalk pastels. Right, so I'm using pigments, right, and I've got deep black, mud green, dark brown, and a bit of sand yellow. I'm going to use a little bit of each of them, and I'm going to make up a colour that I'm happy with, right? So just a small bit of the brown. Right, what's this? This is the deep black, not so much of the black, just a little touch of black. There we go. Too much black in it, the black will overpower everything else and everything will just turn black, which we don't want. Bit of dark brown for our mud, and finally a bit of mud green. It's a nice colour this is, right? Now, so now we've got our pigments in. Oops, sorry. So now we've got our pigments in, right? A little bit of a shake up, not that you need it, right? And we add water, about that much. Okay, so you saw the amount of pigments were in there. and you can see the amount of water I use. Not very much. Okay, now the water is your carrier. That's going to carry everything. And you end up with a nice thick gloop liquid. Okay, so there we go. There's our gloopy liquid. Right, so what we do now is we get our vehicle. Okay, I'll just pop off the turret. Now, unfortunately the aerial popped off, which probably just as well for this stage, because it's literally a case of get that everywhere. Each time you dig into the wash, make sure you give it an all shake up inside there. Okay. Plenty of it on the wheels and the tracks. That's not mixing very well there because I've got some of the wash still on it. Some of the black wash is still in there. So, as you can see, you're basically getting it everywhere. Right, covered the vehicle in that. I'll carry on, I'll get the rest of it done. We'll have a look at them when it's all done, and I'll show you then what I'm doing, and we'll leave it dry then overnight. Okay, and then we'll come back tomorrow, have a look at it, and then we carry on then with the process of weathering, and I'll show you what I do to it then. Okay. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm after covering everything with a gunk. Right. Now what you do is, with your brush still wet, just dip it into your pigments and tap them off. Tap them on different like that. What you're trying to do then is you're giving it different shades within the one shade. I know it makes no sense to say that, it sounds ridiculous, but if you look at mud in general, it's just not all the exact same colour. It is if you keep churning it up around the place, it develops all the same colours. But when it splashes onto something and your vehicle drives through mud, it's not going to end up all one colour. Mud is just gunk in different areas, different types, different shades of shite. Different shades of shite. Sorry, I'm going to keep slapping the camera there. But it's hard to kind of do stuff and then... Right, so now we want a lighter. Again, not so much with the darker colours because the whole thing goes dark, but our lighter colours. Now we will be removing a lot of this, but by putting on like that you're making sure that you get it everywhere. In areas that you do want it thick, you'll have it thick. You can remove it then in the areas that you don't want it so thick. Just make sure you get it everywhere. And when we come back and look at that tomorrow, you'll be amazed how it looks. It'll all be dried into it. And then we can start removing the bits we don't want. Okay. It's kind of weathering in reverse. You're just kind of covering everything with the sludge and then removing them what you don't want, rather than adding what you do want. looks absolutely horrible, doesn't it? What am I doing to my beautiful kit that I've just spent ages making and painting, and then I'm just kind of covering it in gunk. Why am I doing it? You're doing it to get the effects that you want to get. Remember, if you want factory fresh, you paint it factory fresh and you leave it. When you want it weathered and weathered reasonably heavy, then you weather it. So it's going to get mucky, it's going to get dirty. I mean, you take a vehicle like this, like they were used during World War II, out in the field. They're out there for weeks on end, literally weeks on end. People, you're living in them. You're just driving around in the mud. You're using it for shelter. You're using it for everything. It's going to get filthy, the outside of it, and that all helps towards the camouflage of the vehicle as well. So you're not going to go to the bother of cleaning it off. You clean it off and make your vehicle all nice and clean and shiny. You're making yourself a big target. That's exactly what you're doing. You're making yourself into a target. Nice, new, clean, shiny vehicle. But when it's all covered in mud and God knows what else, it blends into the countryside. So it's going to be harder to see. So there we go. There's our vehicle now. Alright. Change the lighting source there now for a second. And the camera adjust into that. Anything there. Right, so it's dried overnight now, and as you can see, if you take a look at it there, it's like as if it's sort of literally been left out in the mud. Now that's a bit too much. We don't actually want that. So what you do then is get a clean brush, okay, reasonably soft. You don't want it hard, right? And then a stiff bristle brush. You don't want a stiff bristle brush for this. All right. With the soft bristles, and just gently rub away here. A lot of that, see? So now I'm ending up with what I want. I want it sort of dry, dusty, but dirty as well at the same time. As if it's been, out in the mud and it's all dried in, it's dry now. So, I'm going to carry on with that, get that to how I want it. Okay, and it's literally, that's all I'm doing. Pushing away, nice and slowly. Anything I don't want. See, if you remove it too quick, you might remove a bit too much from areas you don't really want to. At least when you use a softer brush, you can control how much you're removing. If you get my drift. Oh, see that? Going around there, around the those filler caps. See how much better that is. Later on then what I'm going to do is go in there with some stains, fuel stains. And that will kind of help that little area there. I mean, it's not finished yet, there's still plenty to do, regarding the what kind of weathering I'm going to do to it. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do my light brushing everywhere. We'll come back to it and we'll have a look then at what that looks like. Okay. Right. As you can see now, I've removed quite a lot of the that dirt shall we call it? We call it dirt. Pigments and God knows what it is. Dirt. Now what you can do is, right, on areas that you found hard, just get a clean brush, dip it in some water, some plain water. What you can do is you can literally reactivate the wash again, right? So in areas that you can't really get to with the fine brush and remove stuff, and there with a brush, right? Remember, always sort of the downward streak in motion. Right? Keep your brush clean. This brush now probably is just a little bit too soft for this bit. Okay. Maybe not. Just it won't remove as much, which is good. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm reactivating the wash again, right? And I'm thinning it out. I knew that was going to break off. I'm freaking breaking off bits and pieces. I always end up doing that. Like I said, I've already after breaking off the area. So there's a little bits of wash that are left. I'm going to manipulate them around. Right, I'm going to get a kind of a streaking motion with them. And remove any little heavy deposits in areas that I don't think that they should be. Okay, there are areas where you will get heavy deposits of dirt and things. That's along the places like this here. All those bolts and things, they'll pick up a lot of dirt if they get dirty. In other words, the dirt will get in there. It won't just sort of wash off. Right? Whereas flat surfaces, it will. It'll kind of wash down from them. So use the old downward strokes on the brush. So at least then if some remnants of you going in there with the water activating it all up again is left, at least it would look natural, so you get your downward streaks. Right, so I'll carry on, continue on with that now. We'll get it to that stage and we'll see what it looks like. It'll probably be dry by the time I come back, but we'll see what that looks like then. Okay, so now I have it to where I'm comfortable with it. Alright, as you can see, still nice and dirty, not overly dirty, not by a long shot. Right, left the sides alone because I wanted them all to stay like that. Right, rather be trouble lighter than that now, they might get a better idea on what that actually looks like. And your fingers will leave fingerprints on it because it's still basically it is still a bit shiny and things. Right, so basically there we go. Right, so now what I'm going to do now is just a couple of oil stains and things around there for the where those filler caps are. Right, so what am I going to use? Believe it or not, I'm going to use this, which is engine grime. Right, so if you take a small drop of that, mix it with a tiny little drop of lighter fluid. Alright, and make it really, really watery because this stuff is actually quite thick. Alright, so basically what you're doing is you're just thinning it with the lighter fluid. Alright, just get a small bit of it on. Just dab it around there. Alright. that'll do is that'll sort of stain up that area. Alright. Now, as far as I know, that one there at the back is for water. These four here are the fuel ones. Right. These outer ones then. Right, there's two outer ones as well then. They're for lubricants. Engine lubricants. Right. So just the tiniest little bits now, like I said. That'll dry in quite nicely now around there. Nice. As you can see. So we're just going to leave that dry in now. Oh, freaking motorbikes. Anyway, alright, we're going to leave that dry in. Once that's dry in, then what I'm going to do is I am going to give that a dull coat. Alright. We want the shininess off it. We want to build that kind of matte finish. Okay, like I said, military vehicles aren't really shiny. There's a reason for it, because for reflecting light, and they don't want to stick out. And you know, if that's inside in the bushes, you just have a couple of bushes over it just to kind of camouflage it a bit. If that is shiny, it'll you'll see it no matter how many freaking bushes are in front of it. Okay, so they're usually matte green. So I'm going to leave that dry, then we'll have a look at it. Alright. At the same time, I have been doing the turret section, just dirtied it up a bit. Alright, removed most of it, to be honest with you, and I'm happy now with that as well. So all that is going to get matte coated. Right, so just stick this on, just have a quick look at it. You know, I think that looks quite stunning. That's just, like I said, it is me, and I haven't finished yet. So, we'll carry on. Let's get more done. When I get back to you, I'm going to have it matte coated, and all this section here will be dry, and we'll see what we'll do from then on. Okay? Alright, okay, now so she's all dry. That means that my grime, my mud and my grime, and all that has been locked into place. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. So on to the next stage. Okay, so next stage. If you look at our turret here, right, we'll go for this side because I've done the other side. Now if you look at the stowage, right, I think I get a bit of light on it and see will it help any. You see the stowage, it's kind of dark and dreary looking, okay? But you can see all the little raised parts, right? Now, if you look at that side, it just sticks out that better, much better, right? Simple thing, like I did with the figures, just went over all the high points with the original colour that I used. Like in this case with the stowage, it's khaki, which is XF49. With a smaller brush, then just go over the little raised panels, and you can get it up like that. That's going to be quite nice. I'm also going to use the native green, which is the colour I used for the vehicle itself, and highlight a couple more just a few little spots here and there. Alright. Reason for that is it's like a kind of a chipping. Alright. So when I go across it, say a section, I can go in, you know, do a longish streak along an edge like that, in the light, in the green, the original green colour, which will come up lighter than the green that's already on it. Then if you put a touch of black in there, it's like as if the paint is sort of chipped off, and this is, you know, where the black is, it even chipped off a bit more. So it's just a bit of chipping effects I'm doing on that. And basically that's it then. It should be ready at that stage. You know, it's a case of how long after D-Day this was, I'm depicting this. You know, I haven't really decided yet. You know, is it sort of a couple of months after? Is it a couple of days after? A couple of weeks after? Within, say, if it was out there for about, I'm saying about 2 months, right? It's 2 months into the battle, so it's filthy dirty. They haven't had time to clean it. They're, you know, they're too busy fighting and surviving. So they're going to pick up all the grime and all this, that, and the other. But the vehicle itself, unless it's actually been hit, which this one hasn't, it's just going to have some, say, general grime, the odd little bit of chipping, nothing major on it. So that's the condition I'm going for with this. So it's going to be sort of heavily weathered but not heavily damaged. Okay, so I'll go ahead, I'll finish off all that, come back to them and have a look at it, right? And it should be nearly it at that stage then. It should be near the final bits, so I can sort of add the glass that I haven't put in, a couple of other little bits and pieces, refit the aerial, and then stick the figures in. So we're not far off it, we're not far off the end at all. Okay, so all the weathering is done, all the painting is done, all the dial, we call it a dial, it's just a base, that's done. So everything is done. Now it's time for the final reveal. Don't forget, let me know in the comments box below what you think of it. I'm delighted how it came out. Okay, the dial or base could be a bit better, but I just, like I said, I don't have room for making dials, so I'm not going to go to all the bother of making up a dial just to literally show it in the video and then wrap it all up and break it down and put it away. So I excuse me, what I did was I used one of the older dials that I already had, one of the old bases. Remember, I make bases out of little chalkboard, kids chalkboard, buy them in the pound shop, and you can sort of build them up and do what you want with them. If you get a look here at this, I used a bit of that seafoam stuff. It's kind of a plant that looks like a miniature trees, so I've used some of them in it. It's just a road, bit of foliage. So let's get on to the bench, we'll have a look at it, and like I said, let me know in the comments box below what you think of it. Is it okay? That's all I want to know, is it okay? So let's get on to the bench and at the final reveal of the TAMIYA's M10 2C Achilles. Right, and here she is, all done up. Like I said, I am really happy with how this turned out. Really happy. I thought those figures are lovely. For TAMIYA figures, they've really come up a couple of notches, not just up a notch, they've come right up in quality and everything else. The older TAMIYA figures, as we know, were never really the best, but this is definitely right up there. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of pictures at the end. Let me know what you think. Like I said, in the comments box below. I'll take a couple of pictures with just the vehicle itself, not with the base, so you can get kind of a look around to see how everything turned out. But overall, I am really happy with that. I must admit, I am really happy with how that came out. So, like I said, let me know in the comments box below, let me know what you think of it. Stay tuned to the channel for my next project, which will be probably up tomorrow. You never know, I'll have the unboxing done. I'll do that later on this evening. Unboxing of a nice kit, another nice one, and hope you like it. So, we leave it at that, lads. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like it. Comments in the comments box below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and if you have subscribed, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I really, really do. So, without further ado, I'm going to leave it at that. Don't forget, go out and buy yourself a kit, build it, and enjoy it. It's John signing off and saying, I'll catch you on the next one, lads. I'll leave you with a couple of photographs, pictures of the Achilles itself.